2025 Women in Engineering Summit 2025. My name is Claudia Gomez Villeneuve. I will be your MC for the day. So I get to give you a little introduction on our event, and immediately we're going to switch to our keynote, Harriet Tinka. So we are online, and we have people all over North America, actually. Confirm that we have people in the States and Canada. Sometimes we have people from Asia and Europe and Africa, but I cannot tell you exactly where they are. Our vision and our values are on the screen. You can always find them on the website. Our goal is to promote licensing in engineering and geoscience for women who finish their studies. So our values are transparency, inclusivity, empowerment, and fun. Thank you to our leads for the committees this year. Kailenis and Christina are event co-chairs. Programming, Janina and Sulema. Sponsorship and administration was Martha, all over Martha. Marketing, Andrea and Tanisha. And technical is Lauren. So thank you, Lauren, for setting up the Remo meeting today. Land acknowledgement, we are on Treaty 6, 7, and 8. So we need to be aware that this land is shared. I'm in Edmonton, some people are in Calgary, other people are in Toronto, but majority of the team is on Treaty 6, 7, and 8. These lands are supposed to be our group lands. The program, you all have access to the program on the website. You know that we have events from now until 3 p.m. for the Mountain Time schedule and until 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. for the Eastern Time schedule. We have chances for networking. The reason we got this software is so that you go from table to table meeting people. So make sure that you take advantage of our network breaks at 12 noon Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Again, during the lunch break, 12 noon for us in Mountain Time, 2 p.m. for Eastern Time. And we may have yet another networking at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Take advantage of this Remo software, is beautiful. Our theme for this year, West 2025 theme, is Fairness for Women in Engineering and Geoscience. And we're starting with fairness in pay. Most of our speakers are addressing fairness in pay for women in engineering and geoscience in some shape or form. It is time. It's time for equal pay for equal work. Thank you to our sponsors. Graham is our special sponsor this year. Not only are they giving us a nice donation, but also they are a 3-time sponsor. So thank you, Graham Construction and Engineering, for coming to our West Summit. And they have a room. Graham has a special office in our Remo room. So they can you can ask them questions, that you can learn more about Graham. The other sponsors we have are ADCO, 5-time sponsor. Thank you, ADCO. Dynamic Risk and HDR. HDR is our first-time sponsor. Dynamic Risk, our 3-time sponsor. Thank you for supporting us. We have a lot of things to pay for. We have students coming in for free to this conference. We have speakers. We have the software. We have gift baskets. We have and we also have the awards for the essay contest. Thank you to Thurber, also our 2nd-time sponsor, for supporting our West 2025, Thurber Engineering. If you can help us promote the event in social media, we have the QR codes on the screen. Tag #West 2025, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and others. For feedback, this is going to be shared on the chat during the presentation. So you don't have to do it right now because we haven't done anything yet. But this is the feedback poll. It's through menti.com. And that's going to be fed to you through the chat. So you can tell us about this event and how it's going. Happy to announce we have 2 winners for the essay contest this year. The essay contest is supposed to give you your money back from applying to your professional engineer. or professional geoscientist license. So this year, the winners are Rachel Seal Barron and Maria Carla Mila Pascual. Both of them submitted beautiful essays about their challenges finishing engineering and the challenges of getting their PhD or PGO designation. So we actually posted their links on social media. Maybe you can connect with them. We have a special announcement. CC West, the Canadian Coalition of Women Engineering Science, Trades, and Technology, is actually one of our kind of like our mother organization. Not really our mother organization, but we treat them like our mother organization. We are going to be making a cash donation to CC West based on the collected money from this conference because we want to further their mission. Their mission looks like ours, but it's even bigger. Their mission is not just engineering and geoscience, but also trades and technology. So we're very, very, very happy to be able to announce this cash donation. We will definitely announce it on social media to let you know how much we were able to collect. If you want to donate and help us with this donation, even better. All right, our keynote speaker, Harriet, are you ready?
I don't know. I think I am. I am ready.
Perfect. So let me give you a little introduction. So Harriet Tinka is the founder of Empowered Me Inc., and she's going to talk about a great study paper, a research paper called Harvard Solutions to Fix the Gender Pay Gap. The differences in pay between women and men doing the same work is actually impressive. It's a big gap. So Harvard University was developing this research on finding solutions to reduce that gap. So Harriet, let me start sharing your slides.
Oh, yes. Yeah, please.
You can put your camera on as well.
There.
I'm going to turn my camera, before I start sharing, I'm going to turn my camera off. Mic and camera off. First, a little bit of camera. And you let me know, Harriet, when you want to switch slides.
Yes, of course, I'll do that. I don't have too many. I didn't want to overwhelm everybody with my many slides.
Please proceed.
Yeah, I didn't want to do death by PowerPoint, as they say. So thank you so much for having me here as part of this summit. What a great opportunity to be among everybody here. And for me, what I do, I really like to meet people wherever they are. So wherever you are in your career, in your life, that's where you are. And don't try to compare yourself with others, because I know in my keynote journey, I've always found that when you are in this big events, these summits, you're seeing that person is doing that person is doing that, and you're comparing and you're thinking, wow, I wish I was where they are. But sometimes we're comparing our behind the scene with other people's outcome, and that's not fair to yourself. So wherever you are in your life, that's where you are. And just enjoy this summit, enjoy everything that is offering to you. And I'm so excited to be part of this. My real profession is I'm an accountant. So as an accountant, I know we get a lot of jokes. So I was thinking I should come up with a joke for the engineering community. But trust me, I could not find anything. I did find it, but I knew I was going to mess it up. So I didn't bother coming up with a joke. So I'm coming in with no jokes. So if you're expecting a little bit of humor, there might be a bit, but no jokes. Now, when I was 11, I had big dreams. So big that you almost scared me. And I remember sitting on the floor in our living room, surrounding myself with a sea of Legos. I still have them. And I wonder if anybody here played with Legos. I know I can't see any one of you, but raise your virtual hand if you played with Legos as a young child. Oh, I see some reaction there. So I'm not the only one. Now, to some people, they looked at me and they said, oh, that's just a kid playing with Legos. But to me, it was more than that. I was designing my own version of the CN Tower. And if anybody here is from a different part of the world, CN Tower is one of our biggest tower here in Canada. So for me, I was designing it, even though I did not grow up here in Canada. I grew up in Kenya. But the dream was still the same. I was building and building. And as I'm purposely building the Legos, I was saying to myself, one day I am going to build something that changes the world. As a young child, you always have big dreams. Now, as I am building my Lego, in the back, I could hear my mother and her friends. She always, every Saturday, she'll bring all her friends, three of them, and they'll all sit together by the table. They'll share stories, exchange recipes, and I'm sure they were gossiping too. They got to do a little bit of that. So as I'm listening to them this particular day, I noticed they were not laughing as much. There was more of a frustration. Her friends, they're all profession. The very first one, her name was Danielle. She was a doctor. And then the other one was an accountant. Her name was Jasmine. And Farida was an engineer, just like most of you here. Now, the doctor, Danielle, was complaining to the other three women. I just trained one of the new doctors, and guess what? He is making way more than me. And the others were listening to her. And she continued to say, well, I guess that's life. I have to accept it as it is. And then the other frustrated engineer, Farida, stood up and said, well, I always get this comment from my supervisor that I am the star performer. Unfortunately, my paycheck did not get the same memo because I don't see the star performer comment aligning with my paycheck. And as I'm listening to this conversation from a distance, I wondered, why don't they just ask? Because my mother always told me, the answer is always no until you ask. So why didn't they ask? Even as a young child, I wondered. But as I grew up, as I am today, I began to realize that it wasn't just about asking. That's just one part of it. But it was also about the systems, the structures, and the culture. And sometimes some of the systems are made and presented without having us in mind. And when I say us, I mean all of you here, women. And it's amazing how the system can overlook that. Now, I grew up, I outgrew the Lego bricks, but I never stopped building. But the playground did change. The bricks became budgets, and the tower was actually the multi-million infrastructures that I was looking after. And the rules mostly were invisible. I crunched numbers, I audited budgets and managed massive financial reports. And one day, as I'm analyzing these comprehensive reports, I was looking at them and something caught my eye. There were two project leads, both engineers. One of them was a woman. She had been there maybe 6 months earlier. And the other one was a male. He had just come 6 months after the other project lead engineer. And I'm crunching the numbers and I looked at row 123. The pay for the female engineer was 125,000. I said, okay, that's a pretty good pay. And I looked at the other one, 150,000. And I thought there was a formula error. So I had to crunch as an accountant. You look at all your errors, you look and see formula was correct. I was surprised. As I'm staring at the spreadsheet, I wondered, why was that such a big difference? And that was something my mother knew so well. But I wasn't in the living room anymore. This was real life. That moment, something shifted in me. I thought about my mother and her other three friends who were working so hard, yet they were not getting paid equally as the other male counterparts. I wasn't just managing numbers anymore, I was witnessing the cost of silence. That moment lingered with me, and not because it was shocking, because it was normal. Normal to have a woman be underpaid. And I realized I don't want to spend my life inside a system that rewards those who talk the most, while others do most of the work are quietly in a corner, not voicing themselves. I couldn't keep adjusting numbers on a spreadsheet, knowing the numbers represented real people, women like my mom. I had two choices. I could be a bystander in a broken system or become a builder for a better one. That's where my company Empowered Me was born. A space for young women to unlearn limitations because as women sometimes we do have this imposter syndrome that we carry with us. I wanted women to own their voices and step into the spaces where value isn't just assigned, it's earned, declared, and defended. Later, I became a social entrepreneur, a football referee, and as well as an ultramarathon runner. Now, even though I was those three things, it didn't matter what arena I was in, whether it was the boardroom, whether I was on the field with my whistle, or in the back road running my marathon. I kept seeing the same pattern. Talent doesn't close the pay gap. Awareness does. Action does. And accountability does. So today, I'm not here just to inspire you, my friends. I am here to tell you how to build bold and build fair. And I hope some of these three things that I found from the Harvard Business Review will land in wherever you are and you can take action. Because if we're going to engineer the future, and I use the word purposely engineer, if we're going to engineer the future, we have to re engineer the systems around us. Now, we're in 2025, as we all know. Now, here are the stats. Women in engineering, and these are studies that I researched, women in engineering earn just 83.7 cents to every dollar a man makes. And that's shocking. But even more shocking, those who are in computer science and math field is 81 cents. So one could say, oh, engineering are better by 2 cents. But no, it's still not fair. But it's not just affecting women in engineering or in the STEM. This is also physicians. Physicians, also women, in most cases, show a gap of $500 to $600 a week. And that adds up. But if you're a Black woman, indigenous, a newcomer, or even women with disabilities, that gap is even wider. But what do they tell us? They tell us, work harder, my friends. Get another degree.
Yeah.
Be patient. It takes time. I argue with that. It shouldn't take a lifetime to be valued fairly. So let's not just be frustrated, my friends. Let's engineer a solution. Now, the Harvard Business Review gives us some tools. And it was exciting to see there's so many tools, but I only have time for 3 good ones. If I had longer, I could propose all of them. We could go through them. We could dig in. We could talk about them. But I only have a bit of time. So I'm only going to share three that I grouped together so that we can start working on them today. These are actionable and they're really easy to do. Now I'll get my friend Claudia to put the first slide. There it is. Pay for the raw, not the resume. Now, let me ask you a question, my friend. Have you ever found someone doing the same exact job as you, but earning significantly more? I'm sure some of you have experienced that. And the reason that they may be paying more, getting paid more, is because they negotiated a little harder than maybe more than you did. Or maybe you know somebody, maybe it's not you. Maybe you know somebody. Like I heard my mother and her 3 friends talk about that. And I couldn't believe as a child at 11 years old that actually happens. And let's take 2 candidates. We'll call them Mary and Jason. Simple names. Now, Mary and Jason are both hired in the same role. Same responsibilities, same qualifications. But Jason is offered $10,000 more. Why? Well, because he negotiated. You know, when you're doing an interview and they say, "What is your salary expectation?" Jason stood up and he will negotiate a lot higher and say, "Well, based on my past salary, I think I should be getting paid XYZ." And because someone assumed he was worth more, he got paid a lot more. Now let's look at Mary. Mary didn't get the same offer because she didn't negotiate for herself. That's not merit. That's not merit-based. And history repeats itself. So my friends, let's not get frustrated. Let's engineer the solution. When I say pay for the raw, not the resume, I mean, let's look at the past salary history for this role. Whether someone negotiated well or worse, they should still get paid the same pay. No more pay based on market value. Pay should be based on the market value. And this is part of the Harvard Business Review. It says it should be based on market value, job complexity, and the impact to the organization. Companies should be auditing salaries yearly, benchmark them against real data. And this isn't just a HR checkbox, it's economic justice. If we can do thermal resistance, as though I'm talking engineering talk here, tensile strength, we can certainly make fairness part of the conversation. Now, the second thing, and I will have Claudia bring in the next slide, is promote with proof and peer review. Now, my friend, when was the last time your organization reviewed salaries without someone having to ask? Are promotions in your workplace documented or just decided? Picture Janelle. Passed 3 times. And why was she passed 3 times? One would wonder. Then we have Michael over there. It seems they'll say, "Oh, he's a natural leader," they say. But when they're asked for proof to find out why Michael is a natural leader, they silence. They have no proof that he's a natural leader. So my friends, let's not just get frustrated. Let's engineer a solution. Here's the solution. Promotions shouldn't be whispered or winked into existence. Every single decision should be justified, documented, and reviewed by a diverse peer group. Make leaders explain why someone deserves a raise. Not because he's a good leader and he talks strong. That's not a reason to be promoted. No. The accountability protects against unconscious biasness, favoritism, and gut feeling. Like, oh, I have a gut feeling that he's the best person in this position. No, it should be justified, documented, and reviewed by a peer group. And these are all Harvard Business Review points. Biasness hides in quiet corners. Shine a light. Now, the third review here is, and I'm going to get Claudia to put on the next slide, make the pay processes transparent and owned. Now, a young woman once asked her manager, what do I need to do to grow in this company? The answer was, just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. So she did. For 3 years, nothing changed. Meanwhile, others, often louder, sometimes with less experience, leapfrogged ahead. And it seems to be a lot of commonality. Like from the other 3 points, it seems like the loudest person, the better negotiator seems to win. How frustrating is this? That's not a system to just be given more money because you are so loud. That's just a guessing game. So my friends, let's not be frustrated. Let's engineer the solution. Now, imagine this. On your first day of work, you are shown the salary ranges from here to here for your role. You see exactly what skills and contribution to unlock the next level. So when that's presented to you, you feel more at ease. You know where promotions are expected instead of them being whispered to you, and you know what you need to do to get to the next level. Bonuses aren't handouts, they're milestones. Because when people understand the path, they rise. If you know what you need to do to get to the next level, you'll work really hard. You know what the next level. Some companies have unions where you know the pay range, so it's expected. Some companies don't. And these are the ones particularly that the Harvard Review was referring to. They need to be transparent. When they're a system and people understand them, then you trust the system. You know when your pay is coming. You don't just assume that, oh, the loudest person over there is going to get it over me. I've been working so hard for 3 years and nothing has changed. So most people just want to leave. And when you trust a company, you give your best and you see yourself shining through. Now, my friends, who is responsible for pay equity in your organization? If you can't name them, no one owns it. And fairness without ownership is just a wish. So give it a name, give it a champion, and give it the power to change lives. You don't need to reveal everyone's salary. It doesn't need to be advertised on a billboard. But do this, and this is really more for the HR department. Share how pay is structured. You should know how the pay is structured. Explain the promotion paths so you know, okay, this is what I need to do to get promoted. And publish any bonuses or leadership opportunities. So everybody is inspired and motivated to know, like, oh, mine is coming. I better work hard so that I can get the next pay. Transparency builds trust. In summary, the 3 points from the Harvard Business Review are pay. Oh, Claudia's she's on top of it. Thank you, Claudia. These are the summary from the Harvard Business Review. Very important. Pay for the role, not the resume. Promote with proof. It's got to be a proof that that person deserves to be promoted, and with a peer review. And make the pay processes transparent so we know, and they must be owned. What do you say? So, those are the 3 points from the Harvard Business Review. Now, what do you say when you are undervalued? Imagine this: you walk into the boss, your supervisor's office, you've just learned that you're being underpaid. Your heart is aching. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. So, what do you say? This is what I'd recommend you say, my friends. Based on the market data and my contribution, and I'm just being more bold, you'd kind of say the way you feel comfortable. Just based on the market data and my contribution, I would like to revisit my compensation. You got to say it, because if you're not asking for a favor, you're stating a fact. You have to be calm and have clarity, because silence, it's so comfortable to be silent, but it's also very expensive. What if, let's say, your promotion was passed over? What do you say? So I'm just doing a little bit of role play here. If your promotion was passed over, you can just walk into the office and say, can you walk me through the criteria used and how I can meet and exceed them? So this is just a simple statement. You're just stating the fact because you want to know why you've been passed over. And if they can explain to you why, then you know. And sometimes if they can't, then they can't. Then you know there's a little bit of injustice there. What if you're tired of waiting? You've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like, when is my day coming, my friends? Well, you can go up to your boss and say, I am open to growing here, but only if I'm growing in value, not just in responsibility. Because sometimes they'll think, oh, you need more work, huh? I will give you another assignment. No, that's not what you're asking for. You want to grow in value. Say it with calm, though. When you say don't go there with the emotions, you march into the office in anger and say, hey, wait, when is my day coming? No, you have to be calm. Say with clarity, and because you're worth it. You are worth it. There'll come a moment in your life when you realize, if I want the world to value me, I must begin by valuing myself. You may not have all the answers, my friend, but just that deep desire of, I no longer want to be a question mark. We don't rise by blending in. We rise by owning our voices. Even if you're trembling, it's okay. If you're trembling, just own your voice. Speak their language and yours. To the future engineers here, you're not just here to design systems. You're here to define standards, define your worth, define your boundaries, and define excellence with fairness and at its core. Build bridges to equity, design networks wired for justice, and always debug those biasness. You can be brilliant and bold, my friends. You can. That's something that sometimes people feel like, oh, how can I be brilliant and bold? It is achievable. Now, if I go back to my living room when I was playing with my Legos, I would whisper to my 11-year-old self and say, you're not just building towers, you're building courage, conviction, and change. You don't have to fit in to stand tall. You don't have to be quiet to be respected, my friends. And you never, ever have to apologize for knowing your worth. This is not just about fair pay for women. It's about the systems that reflect fairness. To the HR professions that are here, you are the architects of equity. Your systems speak louder than the slogans. And to the leaders here, be the ally your younger self needed. Remember when you're young? Be the ally for the leaders and be a good example, and make sure that the reward system are transparent to the students. And I know there's a few students here. You don't need permission to be valued. Don't shrink. Stand up. Step up and speak forward. Because when equity is built into the system, we don't just change a paycheck. We change the paradigm. Let's not whisper about fairness behind closed doors. Let's design it, budget it, and build it in. And let's stop asking women to play the game. Let's start asking who wrote the rules. Let's not get frustrated. Let's engineer the solution. I hope I inspired you to stand strong and be a voice. Now I invite Claudia to take any questions that you might have, short, specific ones, and I'll let her facilitate the next part of the keynote. Claudia, you have the stage.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Harriet. See, we think it's only a problem for engineers and geoscientists. Accountants have it too.
Yeah. They're quite universal. They're so universal.
Okay, so I have 3 questions on the chat. The first one is, talking about salary can be a sensitive topic. How can you be sure, check, if you're getting paid less than your male coworkers?
How can you check? Okay. Sometimes it's not transparent. You can't even tell who's getting paid, because in a lot of the union, if you work in a union, of course, you know what step a person is based on their performance. And in this case, I think you'd have to go and speak to the HR department. They usually have a pay scale. They know where everybody is. And you can just speak generically and say, based on my role, what is the range for my role? And then you would know. But some people don't want to advertise their pay. They don't want to say, this is how much I make, because for some people it's a secret. And if you have something to add, Claudia, please add, because I know you've been in this world. You've gone through it, been there, done that, and I know you've negotiated your way as well.
No, thank you for that. Just a couple of things. The question was asked by Christine, I think. So you can ask a person that does the same job as you if you are on the range. So it means you have to express your salary. Don't ask them for theirs. They might not be comfortable doing it, but you can tell them, I'm getting paid this much. Does that seem like fair for the job that you and I are doing? And that would be an interesting conversation, because that person may say, actually, I get paid 20% less than you, or 20% more than you. So that conversation can start there. Perfect.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, you bet. Yeah. If they're willing to say, sometimes I'm like, oh, you get paid that much?
Yeah.
They might step away. But yeah, I agree.
In fact, Harriet, I actually saw an article once saying that we should be telling people our salary at work. Especially the men should be telling the women their salary at work. Yes, the company keeps it hidden, secret. You don't have to. You can tell people your salary, no problem. Yeah. And then you can help other people get fair pay. Yeah. Next question, Harriet, from Christina. What resources or information do you recommend presenting to your boss to justify a raise or a higher counteroffer?
I think you have to definitely look at the market. You have to do the research before you actually go in and just tell them, this is how much, based on the market value, this and this position, this is what this position has. You have to come in with facts. You don't want to just come in with hearsay, because when you come in with clarity, good information, your supervisor will know that you're coming in, you're intentional, you've done your research, you're not just coming in with emotions, you're coming in with facts. And that's important, to come in presenting with the knowledge.
Perfect. Yeah, and to add to that, Harriet, is we have the APEGA salary survey for
Mhm.
the engineers and geoscientists in Alberta. And we have probably salary surveys in general for the industry,
Yeah.
construction, IT, engineering. So it's very possible for you to find that maybe not in your city,
Yeah.
but for the province or for the state, if you're in the United States right now, or for your country. So there's salary surveys everywhere. You can use that as your starting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next question, Harriet, would you recommend, this is from Lauren, would you
Lauren.
recommend, would you recommend hiring a consultant to help you with wage negotiations?
Ooh, that is a good question. Would I recommend? Well, it costs money, first of all, to do that. But I think with the labor, this one is a hard one, Claudia. Would you recommend? That's, I don't even know how to answer this one. Personally, I think having a mentor always helps. Like you need a mentor to help you get a little bit stronger with your negotiation. But hiring, if you're comfortable with it, I don't know. I don't think I would go that route. What do you think? That's a tough one.
I mean, your boss is going to say, I don't speak to anybody but you.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
very lucky for
you
you.
can have them hire them as a person to give you information
To
to
give
help
you.
the other side, give you, but not come into the room and say, "This is my lawyer. I'm having." That's it's
Right.
not going to end well. So I wouldn't recommend that. I think just do it for your own confidence to know where you're at, and maybe when it comes to negotiating, you feel stronger because you get somebody to support you,
Right.
like a mentor or something.
Right. So here's a trick for the people that are trying to ask for more money because they already know
Yeah.
that you're underpaid.
Mhm.
Have somebody else in the office that works in your team
Mhm.
ask for you. So you don't get a consultant, but
Yeah.
you get one of your office mates, workmates, to go to your boss and say, we should talk about the salary that you're paying so and so. So sometimes even a person from another department
Mhm.
can actually speak to your boss if they have like a relationship outside of the department. Um, that way, because see, this is what happens. It's easier for us in general to vouch for somebody else,
Mhm.
to get a better salary for somebody else, to ask for donations for something else, but it's
Yeah.
really hard to do it for ourselves. So you can tag team. One person as their boss and the other person as the other person's boss. um, it could be a normal conversation. Say, I want to talk to you about my friend. So that could be a good start.
That's true actually, because I remember when I was working in my accounting field, there was one person who was very frustrated because she was always past, she could never get a raise. So I had a conversation with her and I talked to a supervisor and I did initiate saying, based on what I've seen and all the work that she has done, I think she definitely deserves to be.
Right, right. The other thing that's another question that's on the thing, it's not a question, a comment. I was looking for the Pega salary survey, but it has been canceled and even removed from the website. So I'm putting a link to the Apega saying sorry. So they had to remove it for legal reasons. So don't worry about Apega. Find
Oh,
it somewhere else.
oh, they no longer have it online. Why? I wonder why.
Oh, we live in a very litigious society. Very litigious society. So it's very possible that that's what happened. But don't worry, this is not the only source of salary surveys.
Yeah.
So you can continue your search.
Mhm.
If remember, it's the market, what the market can bear. So
Mhm.
even consulting your competitor, the company that competes with your company,
Mhm.
ask somebody from that company. Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you very much, Harriet. I'm glad that you had your personal experience with pay. And of course, an accountant will be able to see the pay.
Oh yeah, you see, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Um,
see the behind
so
the scene for
thank
sure.
you so much. And it's awesome that you gave us a little bit more bravery. You injected us with some bravery to be
Yeah,
able to make that ask.
just see your worth because everybody here just deserves to have the best career, and you don't want to always look on your side to the sidelines to see who's getting paid.
Right. Thank you very much, Harriet. So please, everybody, do your electronic applause.
Uh,
And you can find Harriet on LinkedIn. And also, she has her website, Empowered Me Inc. I think it's .com, right?
dossier, CA.
.ca.
Yeah,
Empoweredmeinc.ca.
yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Harriet.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia, and enjoy the rest of the summit. Mhm.
All right. We have an announcement and some gift baskets before you go to your break. This is the last West we're going to hold. The team that you see on the photo, we have all new interests and we are overwhelmed with work. So we are hoping that these 8 years have been successful for you and for us for sure, which is the reason why we are making the donation to CC West. So when you come to next May or next June and you're saying, where is the West Conference? We want you to go to the CC West Conference. CC West. If somebody can put the address, the email address, not email, the website address for CC West, go to their conference. I have not been to their conference. Martha Vega Smith has, and it is incredible, incredible. The last, actually, no, I did go to the CC West conference 5 years ago. It is kind of like ours, but bigger. So for sure, support CC West, become an attendee of the West Conference. Okay, so we have the two basket winners. So I'm going to need you to do a drum roll on your computer. Basket 1 and 2, courtesy from our sponsors. I will mail these to you. Like I'm in charge of mailing the basket. So I just need whatever address you put into your registration. If it's a watch party, then is the address of the person that registered the watch party. So you will get the basket. So Rianne Caldwell, you win the first basket. And Susie Martin, you win the second basket. These are the labels on the sides, IR, individual registrant, and WP watch party. So we're very happy to have people gathering in their office to celebrate the conference. So congratulations, Rianne. Congratulations, Susie. We will be contacting you. That is it. So Lauren, you can send everybody to the networking on the floor. And please come back at 9 o'clock for our next speaker. Thank you.